Okay, today we're going to go over how to complete a quick write. From time to time, we're going to see a prompt that we're going to have to respond to. Our job is to respond concisely, using complete sentences, and being rational and making sense. I'm going to do an example here today. I'm just going to use a simple prompt. The prompt states, discuss how going through disappointments can have a positive side. So I would start out by answering the question. Restating the question, going through disappointments can have both a positive and negative side. So I'm going to go a step further. For example, let me go back. Going through disappointments can have both a positive and negative side. For one thing, let's start with first off, let's use a transition. First off, we can learn from our mistakes. We can learn from failure. First off, we can learn from failure. As some people, as the statement goes. So let's think about how we can respond here. As the statement goes, probably not the best solution here. So let's go back. So going through disappointments can have both a positive and negative side. First off, we can learn from failure. Our mistakes and blunders, that sounds a lot better. Our mistakes and blunders can be life lessons. It's important that we learn from our failures. So I'm thinking about what business do we have to learn from failure? Let's say you're a quarterback, you have to learn from failure by learning how to read plays, just simple things like learning how to read plays, how to read defenses. You learn by trial and error. So let's try this. Our mistakes and blunders can be life lessons. It's important that we learn from our failures. Some jobs require, some opportunities, let's say opportunities in life require us to require trial and error. Require some we shouldn't use some again. Some opportunities in life require trial and error. Moments of trial and error, that makes more sense. Moments of trial and error. For example, an artist cannot create a work of art without going through countless drafts. Okay, so let's go back and read this prompt. See how we can improve it. Going through disappointments can have both a positive and negative side. First off, we can learn from failure. Let's just eliminate negative side because we don't want to address that point. It can have positive, going through disappointments can have a positive side to it. It can be positive. Let's make it simple and concise. Going through disappointments can be positive. First off, we can learn from failure. Our mistakes and blunders are life lessons. Let's be specific. Let's be more direct. Our life lessons. It's important that we learn from our failures. Some opportunities in life require moments of trial and error. For example, an artist. Let's say, be specific here and say a writer. A writer is a good example. A writer makes numerous drafts before they come to a concluding draft. A writer cannot create a work of art without going through countless drafts. Let's be more specific and say a novelist. A novelist cannot create a work of art without going through countless drafts. Stephen King writes numerous drafts. Stephen King is known to have written to 5 drafts. For some of his greatest novels. Okay, going back, let's read over our prompt. So this is kind of the ideal scenario that we should be looking at here. Discuss going through disappointments. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so let's look at this. Discuss how going through disappointments can have a positive side. Going through disappointments can be positive. First off, we can learn from our failures. Let's say we can learn from failures, fine. Our mistakes and blunders are life lessons, our little life lessons. That makes more sense. Our little life lessons. It's important that we learn from our failures. Some opportunities in life require moments of trial and error. Moments of trial and errors. Okay, good. Moments of trial and error. For example, a novelist cannot create a work of art without going through countless drafts. Stephen King is known to have written up to 5 drafts for some of his greatest novels. When developing some of his, let's make that clear. His final drafts. When developing his greatest novels. Is known to have written up. Okay. Looks a little better. It could be better, but this is just a first draft. So the idea is that we have a draft here that we can build upon. So we want it to be concise and clear so that we're able to build on it later. We can tighten it up a little bit, make it more clear and concise, and make it flow a lot better. But this is just a starting point. Okay, so it took about 8 minutes for me to process this prompt. So your job as a writer is to make sure that you're writing complete sentences, that you're elaborating on your response, and you're adding details, and you're adding explanation. Okay, so we're going to stop here. Make sure that your answers look similar, if not better.